Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's class. Just give me a second. Welcome to yeah. Welcome to India's largest online learning platform, An and this is an academic gate classes, an academic gate, and we are discussing a subject called electronic devices, which is an important subject for electronics and communication engineering students. Electronics and communication engineering students. Just give me a second. Okay. Now, today's lecture is lecture number 5 on electronic devices, and the subject is semiconductor physics. Fourth lecture on semiconductor physics. So the first lecture was only the introduction, and now those who have come for the first time, myself H. Shravan Kumar, having 10 plus years of teaching experience, 10 plus years of teaching experience, and I have a master's degree from JNTU Hyderabad in VLSI system design. And I have mentored many students. I have mentored many students for GATE and ESE exam. My areas of interest are EDC, that is electronic devices and circuits, which we are discussing right now, and analog electronics, digital electronics, and EMFT. So EDC is an important subject for all those students who are preparing for GATE exam and ESE. So in GATE, at least we'll get 10 marks. At least we'll get 10 marks. Analog is also around 9 to 10 marks we'll get. Digital is also 9 to 10 marks. And EMFT is also equivalent, almost is to 10 marks. So almost we are getting 40 marks from all these 4 subjects. So if you are comfortable, if you listen to my classes, almost you can get 40 marks, right? You can prepare for 40 marks. You can prepare for. Good evening. Good evening, Sandhya. Good evening. Welcome. So remaining students can also say hi. Hello, and good evening, everybody. Asif Basha, good evening. So a total of 40 marks we are going to cover, right? So and analog electronics, which I am already covering on the app, on Academy app. I've already started an Academy app. The class is from 9 to 10 every day, from Monday to Friday. Weekend, I don't want to disturb you generally. This is the reason why I don't have. Sneha, welcome. Pallavi, welcome. Good evening, Tejshni. Good evening. Good evening, Tejshni. Okay. So we'll move on. So this is every day, as I told you. So you have to download an Unacademy app to listen to my other classes also. This is a just download app, which is a free app for everybody. Unacademy learning app. Just step one is you have to search on your Play Store, and then install it, which you know how to do it. And now this is important. Which goal you have to choose? Choose your goal. GATE and ESC. GATE and ESC. We have many other things. We all have almost 10,000 plus courses. 10K plus courses we have on GATE and ESC. Those who are very serious, and they want to change their life in 1 year. In 1 year, if you want to change your life, sir, please have a goal. Please have a goal. It's not so easy to get jobs in a very important uh, areas, like especially in core area. Let's say you want to crack DRDO, ISRO, and many other local AE jobs, and everything depends on your GATE scores. If you prepare well for the GATE examination, all other exams will be like a cakewalk. All other exams will be like a cakewalk. Hello, Mr. Joshi, namaskar. Step 4 is going to be you have to select a plus. For those who want to register for plus, register plus, select plus, and then get subscription. Get subscription. Click on subscription. So now this is important. Choose either 12 months or 24 months. I would recommend you to choose those who are in third year or those who are preparing for the GATE examination for 2022. I would recommend you to go for 22 months, which will also help not just for the GATE examination, but all other examinations also, like DRDO, ISRO, and many other exams also, BARC. Who knows, tomorrow you may become another ISRO scientist, but spend 1 year time. Venu, good evening, Venu. Spend 1 year of time very seriously, sir. Seriously, you spend every day 2 to 3 hours you spend on this. Those who are in third year and final year, sir, the life of a GATE cracked student will be different when compared with a normal student. Many students doesn't know about the success of the GATE. What is the importance of the GATE? GATE is very important exam. For that reason, you can select either 12 months or 24 months. I would recommend you to 24 months, and use this promo code. Use this promo code of mine, having SVS10. SVS10. So, and click apply. You will get 10% of discount on the fees whichever you have. Right? So it may be sometimes it may change to 24, 27, 29, 30, whatever may be. But here we have that, and you can pay through credit card. You have EMI option. You have UPI and wallets, net banking, whatever, and go for 12 months or 24 months subscription. This is very important. Okay. Yeah, we'll move on. Now, before going to discuss about today's topic called current density, let's just see what we have covered. Those who missed yesterday. So in the last class, we have discussed about the energy band theory of the crystals and how we got this band concept of band. How we got the concept of band. This is very much important. What is a band and how we got the band, and we have considered this. So we have seen very important this, sir. This is the energy band diagram. How these energy bands have come. This first state, we assume that interatomic distance D is equal to 2 picometers. 2 picometers. So which are having in S energy level, you have 2 electrons and 2 n electrons and 2 n states, right? In P energy level, you have 6 n states and you have 2 n electrons. And now what you have done is the interatomic distance D is decreased to 1 picometer. What is interatomic distance, sir? What is interatomic distance? You see, interatomic distance means the distance between these two. The distance between these two silicon atoms. Earlier it was 2 millimeters. This is 1 picometer. Sorry, 2 picometers and 1 picometer. So when you are trying to bring the electrons together, now what happens? You see here. So now the energy bands, energy levels will spread, and if you still further decrease, let's say you have a distance of d is equal to 0.75, the merge. So here 6 n states and 2 n states, but here coming together, they combine each of them and becomes 8 n states, and out of which only 4 n electrons are available. Yes or no? See, you can hear s orbital 1 electron and p orbital 3 electrons. 3 orbital. Otherwise, here what you will have, sir? Here you will have s orbital 1s2 2p2. Yes or no? You have 2p2. Here what happens, sir? This is two and 2 states, and this is 6 n states. So total now all of them are combined and you have only 4 electrons. If you still further decrease this, now you can see all the filled states will form one band of energy. All the filled states will form one energy band, and that energy band is called valence band. And all that unfilled, non-filled states will form another band called conduction band. And the gap between these two is called energy gap, Eg. This was a very important concept which we have discussed. Good evening, Pritam. Which is very important concept which we have discussed. Those who missed this, I would recommend you to go and listen to this very well. This is a very important concept. Basing on this concept only, we have got this something called energy gap. This conduction band, valency band, filled states and empty states. So out of which 4 n states are there and 0 electrons. Here for 4 n states you have 4 n electrons. So based on this energy band what we have discussed. So based on this only we have classified materials into insulators. So insulators are materials which are having an energy gap of 6 electron volts, which is very high. So insulator will have energy gap of 6 electron volts. So where an electron in the valency band is very difficult to gain this energy and to go to conduction band. So there is no conduction at all. The very poor conductor of electricity is called insulator. So examples are diamond and wood. So metal. In the metal, the conduction layer and conduction band layer and valency band layer both are overlapped. Valency band and conduction band. And its energy gap is 0 and we don't have any holes. But in case of previous, you have when the electron is moving from here to here, a hole is formed, but it will not also possible in insulator. So, and examples are gold, this is a gold, silver, iron, and semiconductor. The energy gap of semiconductor is 1 electron volts, which is sufficient for which can be sufficient for an electron to jump from valency band to conduction band. So, whenever an electron is moving from valency band to conduction band, there exists a vacant empty space. We named it as a hole. The absence of electron in the valency band is called hole. This is very important point. Hole is an imaginary one, and the semiconductor will have. Mahendra, good evening. A semiconductor will have an energy gap of 1 electron volt. Okay, now this hole formation is there. The energy gap depends on temperature. As the temperature increases, electron gains energy and moves to the conduction band is also we have discussed. But at 0 degrees Kelvin, no conduction because semiconductor acts as an insulator. This is very important. Many a times this is asked. At room temperature means 300 degrees Kelvin. An electron gains energy and they'll move to conduction band and forms holes in valency band. Okay, now electron, whatever I told, this one. So a hole is formed in conduction valency band and electron will go to conduction band. Now conduction starts. So as temperature increases, conductivity increases. So intrinsic semiconductor will become pure semiconductor, right? So the energy gap of a silicon is 1.21 electron volts. The energy gap of germanium is 0.785 electron volts. So this is very important. As energy gap depends on temperature. Now how, sir? These are two formulas which are important. So the energy gap of a silicon is 1.21 minus 3.6 10 to the power of minus 4 into T. T is the absolute temperature which we are having. Is electron volts is a unit, right? So similarly, energy gap of germanium is 0.785 minus 2.3 10 to the power of minus 4 T. This is temperature, is electrons. So as the temperature increases, energy gap decreases. Right? So for at 300 degrees Kelvin, the energy gap of silicon is going to be 1.1 electron volts. Generally, it is going to be 1.21. A germanium is 0.72 electron volts. 0.72 electron volts. Okay. Now, is carbon a semiconductor? No. Why, sir? Why, sir? Its energy gap is very high, and all the electrons are tightly bonded to the nucleus. So carbon, though the carbon has 4 electrons in the valency shell, it can't be called as a semiconductor because its conductivity is less, or its energy gap is very high. This is very important. Yesterday some student was saying, I think Mahendra was saying about this. This point is brought by Mahendra. Okay. Now the orbital model of silicon atom we have seen. The orbital model of silicon. Sir, why I am again telling you. I think some students missed this class yesterday. So for the benefit of them, to bring all of them to the same place, to bring all of you to the same place, same page, I'm just trying to talk about what we have discussed in the previous class. Okay. So here the nucleus is existing. This is the 1s2. This is 2s2. The blue is 2. Blue is 2 subshell. This is 1 subshell. This is 2 subshell. This is shell. 1s2 is shell number 1. The n is equal to 1. This is shell number 2 is 2s2, 2p6. That is the 2s2 and 2p6 are subshells of 2. And this 3s2, 3p2 are subshells of 3. Right? So it has only 14 electrons. Nucleus contains 14 neutrons or protons. And this last one is, I called it as a first excitation. Whatever electron jumps, it will go to this level. This is called first excitation state. This is very much important. So the outer orbits are called valence orbits, right? These are called core electron orbits or core electron. And this is nucleus, and these two are called inner orbits. Generally, inner orbit electrons are very tightly bonded to the nucleus, right? Whereas valency orbits are bit far away. As the electron is far away from the nucleus, it has higher energy level, and if we give some energy, it will move from their valence orbit to the excitation orbit. So types of semiconductors, we have something called intrinsic semiconductor or pure semiconductor, and we have something called extrinsic or impure semiconductor. So how will you get impure semiconductor, sir? By adding other group elements or pentavalent or trivalent. That we will discuss in detail now. Now we have a intrinsic semiconductor, N-type, and then we have P-type. We will discuss in detail about these things today, right? So what is intrinsic semiconductor, what is extrinsic semiconductor, and what is N-type, what is P-type. We will discuss in detail. And transport phenomena we have discussed. The current in a metal is due to the flow of negative charges, only electrons. Sir, always remember metal doesn't have holes. That is what we discussed, right? That is what I told you. So metal doesn't have holes. No holes here. When there is no holes, so conductivity is because of only electrons. Conductivity is because of just electrons. And in semiconductor, the current results from the movement of both negative charges and positive charges, because the electrons and holes, both of them are existing. But either of them will be higher. Only either negative charges or positive charges percentage is higher. Though both of them are existing, but in case of metal, only electrons will exist. But in semiconductor, we have both negative charges and positive charges. We call negative charges as electrons and positive charges are holes. The transport of the charges in a crystal under the influence of electric field and also as a result of non-uniform. So this we will discuss in the next slide. So this is a drift current. What is drift current, sir? This is what the drift current is. The current, the electrons or the movement of charge carriers because of the external voltage, because of the external influence of an electric field, right? So whenever these electrons are repelled by, or repelled by, or repelled by, or holes are repelled by this. So now this current is called drift current. What is diffusion current? The diffusion current is because of what? Non-uniform concentration gradient. Non-uniform concentration gradient. Non-uniform concentration gradient. So what is meant non-uniform? This see, in tank 1 we have water full, but in tank 2 we have just 20% of water, and we are trying to club both of them. Now what happens, sir? All the electrons, all the water will move from tank 2 to tank 1 till they will become equal. So now, did you apply something here? No, this is an automatic process. So always the charge carriers move from high gradient to low gradient, high gradient to low gradient. Then when the charge carriers are moving, we say current is existing. Yes or no? Yes or no? Current is existing. Yes, current will exist. So because of what that current is called? Diffusion current. Diffusion current. Okay. Now we have discussed something called mobility. We have discussed something called mobility of the charge carriers. Mobility is nothing but the velocity. When you are applying some external electric field, there exists some velocity for the electron, and that velocity is directly proportional to the applied electric field. The velocity is directly proportional to the applied electric field, and that velocity has a constant of proportionality which is called mobility. Mobility. And the units of mobility are meter square per volt second, and the mobility changes with the value of E. For small values, it is a constant. For the values between 10 to the power 3 to 10 to the power 4, it has some different. So about this graph, we will discuss in detail in coming days. We will discuss in detail in coming days. Now, okay. Now we will start our class today. So today's class is nothing but current density. So first understand what is the name. Current density. So divide this. This is current. Current is I. Current is nothing but I. What is density, sir? Density. What is density? Generally, we might have listened always this word, word called density on population density. Population density. What do you mean by population density? Let's consider some area. Consider some area. See how many people are living in this area. What do you mean population density? Number of people living. Number of people by the area. Number of people. Yes or no? What do you mean population density? Number of people living in this area. Let's say some Delhi. Now we are considering some Delhi. In Delhi, how many people are living? How will we calculate? So what is the population density? We say population density is nothing but number of people living here divided by the area. Similarly, the current density represented by, simple sir, current density. Current density represented by a word J. J is equal to what, sir? Current I per unit area. That's it. Current per unit area. Very simple. What is population density? Population density is nothing but number of people per unit area. Similarly, current density means current per unit area. What are the units, sir? What is the unit for a current? Current is nothing but amperes. Right? Area is meter square. Units of current density are amperes per meter square. Very simple. Very simple, yes or no? Easy to remember. Do you need to buy hard this? Do you need to buy hard this? No, not required. Just thing is you need to understand. Just you need to do is understand and remember. Current density. So what is the relationship between current density and other formulas? What is the relationship between current density and other formulas? As I told you, current density is simple, right? Now we will see, consider, uh, just wait a minute. Let's say we will consider uh, okay. Okay, we will see one thing. Let's consider a cylinder or a cross section. Sorry. Okay. Now let us consider I'm struggling hard to do this. Just have a patience. Have a patience. Have patience, sir. This is very important. Assume that it has a length of L. It has a length of L. It is a length of L. Right? And assume that you have many electrons here. And let's assume that you have a count of electrons which are consider an electron count as n, capital n electrons, and assume that you have a cross sectional area of let's say you have a cross sectional area of A, cross sectional area of A, cross sectional area of A. Okay. Now, for an electron which is here, the time taken by electron to move from here to here, then only current exists or not? When will current exist, sir? When the current is moving from one place to other place, only current exists. The flow of electrons is nothing but current. So now assume that this electron is moving from here to here. So the time taken by the electron to move from one place to other place, for one end to other end, is, let's say, t seconds. T seconds. So what is current I? Very simple. Consider current I is equal to actually Q by T. But if you consider entire region, so how many electrons are there? Total number of electrons are n. Yes or no? So the current I is equal to nq by T. The current I is equal to nq by T. The current I is equal to nq by T. Right? Now what we know, sir, drift velocity. Drift velocity v is equal to, so how much distance distance traveling is nothing but L by T. Drift velocity v is equal to L by T. Drift velocity L. So from this, what is T? T is equal to, can I write L by V? Now substitute this in the above equation. Now I is equal to I is equal to N Q by L by V. So can I write I is equal to N Q V by L? N Q V by L. N Q V by L. Now go back to the definition of current density J. What is current density J, sir? What is current density J? Current density J is equal to I by A. Yes or no? But what is I here? From here, what is I? So consider J is equal to what is I? I you got N Q V by L whole by A. So now J is equal to what? J is equal to N Q V by LA. NQV by LA. Now J is equal to, can I write something like this? A by LA into Q into V. Now see, what is this N? N is total number of electrons. N is total number of electrons divided by length into area of cross section. Can I call this as a volume? So total number of electrons per unit volume. Total number of electrons per unit volume can be called as electron concentration. So electron concentration. Electron concentration. Electron concentration. N is equal to total number of electrons. Total number of electrons divided by volume. That is N is equal to, so N by L into A. So J, current density J can be written as N into Q into V. NQV. This is very important formula. This is a very important formula. What is that formula? What is that formula? Current density J is equal to, current density J is equal to, current density J is equal to NQV. NQV. This is a very important formula to be remembered. This is a very important formula to be remembered. What are the units, sir? Can somebody say units? So what are the units, sir? What are the units for? What are the units for current density? No, just now we discussed. Just now we discussed. What are the units for current density? Can somebody tell me? Can someone tell me? Units. Units for current density J. Amperes per meter square. Good. Sandhya, good. It is amperes per meter square. Amperes per, good, good Tejashni, amperes per meter square. Correct. Correct. So it shows that you are listening to my class. It shows that you are listening to my class. Good, good. I'm very happy. I'm very happy about you. Sir, you listen to these classes. Very important. Today, have a patience and listen to all these classes. Definitely, these classes will help you to get success in your life. Get success in your life. Ask your friends to also listen, like this video. So the only thing what we are expecting is like this video and spread this message to many students whom your friends, right, who are very much seriously interested to learn something and get success in their life, get the taste of success in their life and coming flying out of the colors in their life, which is very much important for every individual students who are studying in third year or fourth year. We are struggling hard day in and day out to teach you all these concept, right? If you liked our videos, if you increase our views, we will do lot of extra work and give you more. That will be a boost for us. Pallavi, good. Mahendra, good. So ask more number of students to come online and listen to my classes. Just like this video and comment. Okay. We'll move on. So J is equal to NQV is called ampere. Units are amperes per meter square, right? Sir, you another thing you have something called, now this, what is NQ? What is NQ? This is electron concentration. Electron concentration multiplied by charge on each electron. Charge on each electron. Can be called as charge density. Can be called as charge density. What are the units? Charge density rho. Charge density rho. Charge density rho. Charge density. So rho is equal to NQ. And what is current density? Is amperes per meter square. What will be charge density? Charge density is simple. It's going to be coulombs per meter square. Coulombs per meter square. Coulombs per meter square. This is also one of the important formula to be remembered. Okay, so charge density rho, current density J, charge density rho and current density J is equal to NQ. Current density J is equal to NQV. So what can I write here from this? Can I write? What can I write from this? I can write J is equal to rho V. J is equal to rho V. J is equal to rho V. J is equal to rho V, where rho is the charge density. So on units of this is going to be amperes per meter square. Amperes per meter square. Okay. Now we will move on. So we'll go to the next slide. So conductivity. This is also very important. So conductivity. So we'll go from the definition of charge density, current density only. We will derive current density. Conductivity. So what is current density J? Current density J is equal to, can I write again, NQV, where V is what, sir? V is drift velocity. Mu, sir. What is this? Mu. Mobility. Yes or no? Mobility. What are the units of mobility? Meter square per volt second. Meter square per volt second. So J is equal to NQ mu into E. NQ mu into E. So J is equal to NQ mu into E. Now this is called, NQ mu is called conductivity J. J is equal to sigma into E. Very important. This is also another important formula to be remembered. So this is called, actually this looks like this is another form of Ohm's law. Another form of Ohm's law. Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law, sir? V is equal to IR. That is, V applied voltage directly proportional to the current. Here also see, sir, what is there? This E is proportional to J, or current I is proportional to, or current density J is proportional to E, and the constant of proportionality is going to be J is equal to sigma E, where the sigma is called conductivity. Where so conductivity is represented by this equation. Reciprocal of resistivity, correct. Conductivity is reciprocal of resistivity, correct, Rashmi. But what's the formula for it? So the conductivity, conductivity sigma is going to be NQV. Huh? NQV na? NQ mu. NQ mu. Conductivity is NQ mu. Conductivity is NQ mu. Can somebody say what are the units, sir? Can somebody say what are the units? Units are ohm, meter, inverse. Ohm meter inverse. Ohm meter inverse. Ohm meter inverse. The units of the conductivity. Units of the conductivity. Very important, sir. Conductivity. Huh? In the previous slide we have seen. So what is this? This also looks like Ohm's law. Looks like Ohm's law. Actually, the current I is proportional to the applied voltage V. Here also what is E? E is electric field, yes or no? This electric field, the current is directly proportional, the current density is directly proportional to electric field. So the constant of proportionality is J. Constant of proportionality is, sorry, sigma. Sigma. Mo meters. Correct. Mo meters. Okay. So now we will see this problem. First, try to understand the problem. What is asking, sir? Find the electric field at B. Problem A. The problem contains two sections. The first section is find electric field at point B, and second one is find the electric field at midpoint. The electric field at midpoint. So now, just first read, see what is there here. You have a uniform conduction bar. Okay, very good. Whose ends are A and B. A and B. So from x is equal to 0 is here. X is equal to 1 micrometers. So 1 micrometers means the length of this conduction bar is 1 micrometer. Length of this conduction bar is equal to, and length of conduction bar is going to be 1 micrometers, and you have applied 2 volts. You have applied 2 volts. What is asking, sir? So is asking us to find the electric field B, electric field at B. So we'll try to write the solution now. Solution. Electric field at B. I can write electric field at B. So what is this? Is simple, sir. You can calculate this very easily. You can calculate this very easily. What is that? E is going to be dV by dx. Go back and see my previous classes. Previous classes. You get electric field is EB is equal to electric field at B is equal to dV by dx. What is that, sir? Change in voltage from x0 to x. I mean from 0 to 1 micrometers by the distance. How much? So this by the distance. So how much voltage is changing? At x is equal to 0, what you will have, sir? You will have 0 volts. Here you will have 2 volts. So for A, for problem A, so you are from 0, from here 0 volts, and here you will get 2 volts. So here you will get 2 volts minus 2 volts by distance. Here point 0 minus how much distance, sir? 1 micrometer. 1 micrometer. 1 micrometer. 1 micrometer. So how much you'll get, sir? Answer. This is going to be 2 into 10 to the power of 6. Yes or no? Because I am converting this micro into meters. Converting. Huh? So this is going to be volts per meter. Volts per meter. Okay. So 2 into 10 to the power of 6 volts per meter is the right answer for B. So the electric field at point B, the electric field at point B is nothing but 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6, 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6 volts per meter. Similarly, can you do what is the answer at B? What asking? Electric field at midpoint. At midpoint. Electric field at midpoint. Again, same thing, sir. Let's say EM, that is at midpoint. So again, you will have dV by dx. dV by dx. So midpoint means how much is the distance, sir? So this distance is 1 micrometer. So midpoint, let's consider this as a midpoint. So this is midpoint. This is going to be how much? 0.5 micrometers. So electric voltage, electric field is also having 1. Here you will have electric field 1. Midpoint, right? Midpoint, right? Midpoint, right? So here you will have 1 volt. Here it's from 0 to 0.5 micrometer. It's going to be 1 volt. So it's going to be 1 volt. So this is 0 minus 1 divided by 0 minus 0.5 micrometers. So this is going to be 1 by 0.5 meters is going to be 10 to the power of minus 6. I'll write 10 to the power of plus 6. I'll write. So what is 1 by 0.5 is going to be 2 into 10 to the power of 6 volts per meter EM. That is electric field at midpoint. Electric field at midpoint. Electric field at midpoint. So answer for A. What is the answer for A? 2 into 10 to the power of 6. What is the answer for B? Answer for B is also 2 into 10 to the power of 6 volts per meter. Answer for A was 2 into 10 to the power of 6 volts per meter. Answer for B is also 2 into 10 to the power of 6 meters. 6 volts per meter. So answer for both of them is same. So the conclusion here is, this is very important conclusion. What is the conclusion? except at A, except at x is equal to 0, it is point A, electric field is uniform. Electric field is uniform. Electric field is uniform. That is, if you draw a graph, between, electric field E and then D. So this is constant. The conclusion from this problem is, what is that, sir? So the electric field is uniform except at x is equal to 0. At x is equal to is not defined. Because when you don't have any electric field, so at x is equal to 0 it is not defined, but in the entire uniform conduction bar, electric field is also uniform. The electric field is also uniform. It is clearly mentioned that uniform conduction bar. So remember this. This is very important. Okay. So this is very important. Clear? Is it clear for all of you? Hope it is clear for all of you. Next, we'll see the next problem. Now, we have another problem here. We'll try to solve the problem. First, we'll try to understand the problem. Electrons in some conductor have a density of 10 to the power of 20 per centimeter cube and a mobility of mu is equal to 500 centimeter square per volt second. If a uniform electric field of 1 volt per meter is applied, find the conductivity and current density. Right? So this is also very easy problem. So electrons in some conductor have a density. So what is even is saying, sir? He has given concentration. Electron concentration N is equal to 10 to the power of 20 per centimeter cube. It is also given mobility mu is equal to 500 centimeter square per volt second. This is good. And electric field E equal to 1 volt per meter. 1 volt per meter. So this is given. What is asking, sir? Is asking for the conductivity and is also asking for current density J. So current density J. So one thing here you need to remember is, first, whenever a problem is given, let us see all are in the same units or not. Many students fail to answer these questions, or they answer wrongly in the GATE examination because they don't see the units properly. You see here, this units are centimeter square cube. Here the units are centimeter square per volt second. But here electric field is having 1 volt per meter. 1 volt per meter. So what you need to do is, you should change this. You should change this to, what? Centimeters. So you should change this to, volt per, volt per, volt per centimeter square. So how much? So this is going to be 10 to the power of minus 2 volts per centimeter square. So many students fail to answer this question because they don't see the units. The first step what you need to remember is whether the units are same or not. If the units are not same, then it will be a problem for you. So convert them, or you do one thing, convert all of them into meters. Convert all of them into meters. Okay, convert all of them into meters, or convert all of them into centimeters. Convert all of them into centimeters. Convert all of them into centimeters. So now see, we'll see the problem. What is the conductivity formula? Conductivity is equal to En Q mu. What is N? Concentration. It is 10 into 10 to the power of 20. So what is Q, sir? 1.6 into 10 to, Q is the charge of an electron, 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. The mobility has given, that is 500 centimeter square per volt second. Volt second. So how much value you will get, sir? So if you calculate 1.6, so this is going to be, okay, what you can do is you make it 16. If you make it 16, this is 10 to the power minus 20, so everything will get cancelled. 1.6. So what you will get is so it is equal to 1.6 10 to the power of minus 12 it becomes. So 10 to the power minus 12 1.6 for 5 16 5 is up. So 8, okay. So we'll get 8,000 units are ohm. Is this centimeter, sir, per universe, or simply you can write 8,000 by ohm centimeter. Correct, Mahindra. Correct, Tejaswini. Sanjay, good. Okay. So can you please try to do what is current density? Current density is simple. Current density J is equal to what? So current density J is equal to what? You can use this formula, mu and E. Correct, Sandhya, correct. Similarly, try to do this J. Try to do this J also. Tejaswini, correct. You are so fast, Tejaswini, very good. Units, what are the units? Correct, Mahindra, correct. Very good. Very good. amperes per meter square, amperes per meter square. Sir, if in the examination option A is option A is 80 volts per meter square, B is 80 amperes per meter square, C is 800 amperes per meter square, D is 80 amperes per centimeter square. Tell me which is the answer. Sneha, 80 amperes per meter square. Okay. Now I am giving 4 options. Tell me what is the option. Which option? Which option is correct? Which option is correct? Tell me the option. Which option is correct? All of you. Sandhya D. Gogula B. Mahindra B. Okay. Tejaswini, you did not answer. Somebody said good evening. Very good evening. Satish, good evening. Welcome. Tejaswini. Okay. Sir, answer is not B. Mahendra, answer is not B. Answer is D. Answer is D. Tejaswini, you are also wrong. Answer is must be in centimeter squares, not meter square. I've told you be careful. I've told you be careful with the units, because what we have done in the, see, we have converted this, right? And what is this? 8000 per ohm centimeter, centimeters, in centimeter square, So don't, sir, see, gate is this only. You will try to divert your mind. Your answer is correct. You have some good procedure and everything, but see the units. He will make you to confuse, and he will ensure that the wrong answer will come first. Most of the times, what happens is wrong option will be in first 2 or 3. Generally, right answer is going to be the 4th. Right answer is going to be the 4th. So be careful. Be careful while you are solving the problems. This is very important. Keep in your brain, in mind, that you have changed it to centimeters. Good. Okay. Shall we move on? Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So bonding forces in solids. Right? So we are talking about something called ionic bond. What is ionic bond? It forms between 2 oppositely charged ions. It forms between 2 oppositely charged ions, which are produced by the transfer of electrons from one atom to the other. It is bidirectional. So what he's saying is, the name itself says ionic bond. Ionic bond is in between 2 charged ions, opposite charge. So a positive charge ion has a negative charge ion. Example. So when the bond happens between these two, it's called ionic bonds. The bond between two oppositely charged ions. Sir, how this ion is called positive, another ion is called negative? How the ion forms? How the ion forms? How the ion forms? Let's consider some example. Let's consider some example. So our famous example, we have Na and Cl. What is NaCl? What is NaCl, sir? Sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. So what is the atomic number of sodium? 11. What is chlorine? 17. So what you have, sir? You have 1s2, 2s2, 2s2, 2p6, and then 3s1. 17 is going to be 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3s2, 3p5. See, if the sodium loses one electron, if the sodium loses one electron in its outermost orbit, it will get 6 electrons here. Sorry, 8 electrons, which is called stability. Similarly, chlorine needs 1 electron to get some stability. How many it has, sir? It has 7 electrons in outer shell. So plus 1 you need to add. Plus 1 you need to add. So this sodium becomes Na plus and chlorine becomes Cl minus. Cl minus. Sir, how come somebody who is donating is plus and Cl minus? Cl minus. So this is very important. I'll tell you why this sodium got plus charge and chlorine got L. Now let's see. So this is, many students will not understand this. So I'll try to explain this in clear. Sodium has 11 electrons. It means in the nucleus it has plus 11 protons and neutrons, right? And how many electrons are revolving? How many electrons are revolving? How many electrons are revolving, sir? So you have 11 electrons. 11 electrons. Yes or no? 11. So you have 11 neutrons or 11 protons or 11 neutrons, and then you have 11 electrons. You have 11 electrons. Now what it is doing, sir? Sodium is donating 1 electron. It is losing 1 electron. Losing 1 electron. Losing 1 electron. So if it is loses 1 electron, now what's happening, sir? So you have still 11 neutrons and protons in the nucleus, but here how many electrons you have? Total you have only 10 electrons. Only 10 electrons. Only 10 electrons. Sodium chloride, right? 10 electrons. So here you have 11 protons and 11 neutrons, and you have only 10 electrons. Which one is higher? Which is higher, sir? For every electron, there should be a proton or neutron. Yes or no? For every electron, there should be a proton. Yes or no? But here for 10 electrons, how many neutrons you have? How many protons you have? 11. So one is extra. One is extra. So you have one extra neutron or or proton. One extra neutron, which is symbolizing with positive. This is negative. So which one is higher now? Which one is higher now? So this neutron is higher. So because of that, after donation, Na becomes Na plus. Understood? Correct. Tejaswini, to form inert gas configuration. So whatever happened is happened. So now here you see. So here one extra proton is there. So because of that, it has got Na plus. Na plus. Similarly, chlorine. So chlorine, Cl as 17. Cl as 17. So in the nucleus, it has plus 17 protons. And how many electrons it has, sir? How many electrons it has? It has 17 electrons. And again, it is accepting one electron from far away. Accepting one electron. This is accepted electron. Accepted electron. So now how many? You have 17 neutrons and you have 18 electrons. So you have one extra electron. To represent this one extra electron, I am calling this as Cl minus. Cl minus. Cl minus. So Na has become Na ion, positive ion. Cl has become negative ion. Hope you understand what I mean. Hope you understand what I mean. So the bond which is formed between sodium Na plus ion and Cl minus ion is called ionic bond. Is called ionic bond. Hope now you understand what I mean. Hope now you understand what I mean, right? So this is how ionic bond is formed. When inert gas configuration is reached, so now what happens, sir? NaCl acts as an insulator. Acts as an insulator. Sodium chloride acts as an insulator. So this point is very important. The previous point was very important. How Na has become Na plus, how Na has become Na plus, and how Cl has become Cl minus. Cl minus. Cl minus. So and both of them will become, so Na has by donating one electron, Na has become Na plus. By accepting one electron, Cl has become minus, Cl minus. So Na plus and Cl minus are positive ion and negative ion. The bond which is existing between these two by transfer of transfer of electrons from chlorine to sodium, that is becomes sodium chloride, which is called ionic bond. So the bond is between positive ion and negative ion. So it is called ionic bond. It is called ionic bond. Now we will see another bond which is called covalent bond. Covalent bond. It forms by sharing of electrons between neighboring atoms. Between neighboring atoms. between neighboring atoms. So you have, let's say, how to share this. Now I'll try to tell you. Let's consider one silicon atom. Silicon, sir, valency. So this is valence. Let's say valency you have. You have how much, sir? You have 3s2, 3p2. So 4 valency electrons you have. 4 valency electrons. So consider silicon. You have 4 valency electrons. Assume that this is going to be 4 valency electrons. Okay, you have 4 valency electrons. How NaCl acts as an insulator? So very simple. It has got neutrality. So this. So it has got 8 electrons. It has got 8 electrons. Mind that it has got 8 electrons, and it also by losing 1 electron it has become to inert gas configuration. It reached to an inert gas configuration, right? Here also by getting 1 electron, it accepts 1 electron, becomes an inert gas configuration. When both of them are inert gas configurations, no conductivity at all, no free electrons at all. When there is no free electrons, no charge carriers, no conductivity. When there is no conductivity, it acts as an insulator. Okay. Sodium chloride, salt. No, it cannot conduct electricity. Is salt conducts electricity? Have you ever seen? How earthing will do? How earthing will happen? If you see earthing for buildings, you will have earthing. For earthing, they use NaCl only, sodium chloride, salt. Why? Because it doesn't have conductivity. Because it acts as an insulator. It acts as an insulator. Okay, very good. Now, coming back to this our covalent bond discussion. Covalent. So this is you just divide covalent. Covalent. You might have observed something called cooperation. 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 Here what we call, sir? Covalent. So when you share valency electrons of 2 atoms, you can call covalent. Right? Let's assume silicon has 4 electrons in its valency, one silicon atom. Consider another silicon atom. Which is also having, obviously it has 4 electrons. 4 electrons. Right? Consider another silicon atom which is also having 4 electrons. Consider another silicon atom which is also having 4 electrons. I am talking about all the crystalline structure. Silicon is also having 4 electrons. Now see what is happening here is, I'll try to draw. So now you can see this center silicon atom has 4 electrons in its outer shell. So but you can see this silicon atom also having 4 electrons. So now what happens is here is this electron from atom 1 will be shared by another electron. So similarly, it can share 1 electron. It can also share 1 electron. So it can share 1 electron. It can share 1 electron. So here also it can share 1 electron. So it can share 1 electron. Now if you see this for center silicon atom, For center silicon atom, Tejvini, we will discuss that Cl2 is a covalent bond or not later. First, let's discuss covalent bond. Okay. Cl2 you are asking, right? Cl2. Cl2 is what? That we will discuss later. First, we will discuss covalent bond, then we will go to the topic. Then we will go to the. Don't worry. Okay. First, this you understand this. So, what is covalent bond? So, the valency electrons of this silicon atom are shared by this silicon atom. The valency electrons of this atom are shared by this. So, similarly, this electron. So, now this silicon atom has how many electrons in it? How many atoms in it? So, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So total how many electrons you got? Earlier this silicon atom has plus 4 electrons. This silicon is also having plus 4 electrons. This silicon is having plus 4. This silicon is having plus 4. This silicon atom is having plus 4. So total now, but this silicon has 8. Similarly, let's say you have another silicon atom here. This is also having 4 electrons. So this will get some bond here. 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 Assume that another silicon atom you have here, which is also having another electron. So 4 electrons in the outer orbit. So this is bond you get, this bond you get, this bond you get. Similarly, if you have another silicon atom here, you have 4 electrons. So you will get another bond here. This is another covalent bond you will get. So let's say you have another silicon here, which is also having 4 electrons. You get one bond here. So this silicon may have another bond here. This silicon may have another bond here. This silicon, for the sake of convenience, I'll put it here for my convenience. You can have one bond here, 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 one bond here. So you have another, sorry, I missed this bond. So this bond, this bond. Similarly, every silicon atom gets 8 electrons and becomes a crystal. Okay, now what is important here is the valency electrons of this silicon is in cooperation with the valency electrons of this silicon atom. So by cooperating and having a valency bands, this bond is formed. So because of that, this is called covalent bond. Covalent bond. Covalent bond. Covalent bond. This is also another covalent bond. This is also another covalent bond. So this is also another covalent bond. Like this, you have all covalent bonds existing. So you need not by heart, you need not remember everything. Simply remember the name covalent. What is cooperation? So covalent, valence electrons. So the bond is formed because of sharing of valency electrons. Sharing of valency electrons is called covalent bond. Ionic bond. The bond is existing because of the ions. The bond existing because of the ions. Then it is called what? Covalent bond. Clear? Huh? All these are valence electrons only, or not? So this is a valence electron. This is a valence electron. This is a valence electron. These are all valence electrons. So the bond which exists between the valency electrons of an atom, 2 atoms or 3 atoms, or neighboring atoms, what is saying is neighboring atoms. It forms by sharing of electrons between neighboring atoms. Is called covalent bond. Is called covalent bond. Is it clear? Is it clear? Okay. Shall we move on? Shall we move on? Next. Next, we will see the concept of something called hole. You might have already heard about electron. What is electron? But the concept of hole is also very important. Concept of hole is also very important. So I'll try and repeat again. I'll try and repeat again. We know that at 0 degrees Kelvin, as 0 degrees Kelvin, there are no free electrons. At 0 degrees Kelvin, there are no free electrons or no free charge carriers. No free charge carriers. So when there is no free charge carriers means it acts as an insulator. It acts as an insulator. It acts as an insulator. Now, I'll just try to draw something like this. Okay. Okay, and you have something like this. So, what is this blue line indicates, sir? What is this blue line indicates? What is this blue line indicates? What is this blue line indicates? This indicates energy gap. This indicates energy gap. This indicates energy gap. Right? So I can call this as energy gap of, sorry, here energy gap. So this is nothing but energy level of valency band. This is called EC conduction band. Right? These are all filled valence band. This is empty conduction band. Empty conduction band. So what is EG? The EG is nothing but the difference between EC minus EV. Energy gap is equal to, oh here I should not do this, I may get a doubt. EC minus EV. The energy gap Energy gas, yes, exactly, correct, correct. Energy gap, energy gap. Eg, correct, correct. Pallavi, correct, correct. Pallavi, mine's are correct. Eg is equal to EC minus EV. Eg is equal to is energy gap. Eg is equal to EC minus EV is a formula. Is a formula. Is a formula. Now, at room temperature, at room temperature, at room temperature, that is 300 degrees Kelvin, what happens is some covalent bonds will be broken. Some covalent bonds will be broken. Now I'll try to draw this the previous one again so that you will understand what I mean. You should know how what is the concept of hole. I'm trying to explain you the concept of hole, sir. I'm trying to explain you the concept of hole. This is very important, sir. Once you register in your brain, you need not think again. You need not think again. Let's say some silicons or some fourth group element. You have here you have four electrons. So here you have some four electrons, some four electrons. Here you have some four electrons plus four plus four plus four. You one, two, one. You have an electron. Every atom has four electrons in their outermost shell. That is, I am just trying to show you here. So this atom is also having four, 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 four. This needs four atoms, four outer shell electrons, four outer shell electrons. So next time what I'll do is I'll get some already pre-existing diagram so that I don't need this much of time to draw all these things. So I was just thinking about all these things to explain you in detail. So because of that I am trying to draw all these things again and again. So you know that this bond is formed. What is this bond, sir? This bond is called covalent bond. This bond is called covalent bond. This bond is called covalent bond. All these bonds are existing. All these bonds are existing. Sir, at room temperature, what happens, sir? Now I'll tell you. Just wait a second. Wait a second. What you'll observe something new here. Something new here. Very important, easy and good concept. Very easy and good concept you should understand now. So what is the concept of hole? What is the concept of hole? You already know what is electron, but you should also know and understand what do you mean by an hole. What do you mean by an electron? What do you mean by a hole? Hole is an imaginary thing that you should understand. That you should understand. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of efforts, taking time to draw. So you would have drank some water. Okay. So is that my screen clear? Is that my screen clear? Is it blur? Are you able to see what, all these things, what I am drawing? Excuse me. Hello. Clear? Okay. Then. Okay. Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you. So now what happens? See, at room temperature, what happens is, at room temperature, some of the covalent bonds will be broken. Some of the covalent bonds will be broken. So as temperature increases, this covalent bonds will be disturbed and broken. And now what happens? See here, let's assume this. I'm talking about this electron. This electron will get some energy. This electron will get some energy, and it will move to the free path, free area. That means an electron is coming here. So which creates, now see, that is the beauty here. Which creates an empty space. Which creates an empty space. This is nothing but empty space. Space in covalent bond. Is nothing but hole. So now, because of that, as temperature is increased, now a free electron is existing. So I can call this as a free electron. Free electron. It can move from one place to other place in the atom, in the crystal structure itself, in the metal itself, in semiconductor metal itself, in silicon metal itself. Now what happens, sir? Now see, the electron which is there in this bond will try to jump from here to here, and when this is try to jump from here to here, it creates a hole now. It creates a hole now. Or let's say this electron. Now next, this electron may jump from here to here, which may create a hole here. So as the temperature increases, some covalent bonds will be increased. Sorry, covalent bonds will be broken. When the covalent bonds are broken, empty spaces will be created, and those empty spaces are called holes. Now, when the electron is moving from one place to other place, now there exists something called current. Right? And when you see here, you will feel that, let's say, now I'm trying to explain you in detail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just hold on, understand this concept. See, let's say one electron, it jumped from here to here. One electron is broke the bond. Now what happens, sir? You will have a hole, free space, or empty space existing here. Now next what happens is here. Next what happens here is, see the beauty. See the beauty, sir. Don't worry, I'll show you an animated video also. Now the electron which is existing here, will try to move from here to here. Now what happens here? You will get this electron, and all other electrons are existing here. All other electrons. So as the electron is moving from here to here, now what happens, sir? Here exists an empty space. Here exists an empty space. Actually, what happens, sir? Electron is moved from here to here and hole is moved from here to here. So that is the reason why, electron flow is opposite to holes flow. Holes flow. Hope you understand. Wait a second, I'll show this video so that you'll understand. See, now what's happening, sir? Electron is moving. Actually, electron is moving. But what you feel that the hole is moving. The empty space is not moving. You just concentrate on empty space. Empty space is moving. Empty space is moving. Empty space is moving. Empty space is, here electron is moving. Electron is moving. Electron is moving. But empty space is also moving. So electron is moving from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. But you can also say empty space is also moving. Empty space is also empty space mode. 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 Empty space is mode. So electron is moving. Empty space is moving. Electron is moving. Empty space is moving. Electron space is moving. Empty space is moving. So electron is moving, empty space is moving. Electron is moving, empty space is moving. So if the electron is moving from here to here, the hole is also moving from here to here. Hole is also moving from one place to other place. One place to other place. Hope you understand what I mean. Hope you understand the flow of hole also. So this is very important concept. How the electron moves. How the electron moves. How the electron moves. Clear? So as we know that hole now can also act as a carrier. Hole can also acts as carrier of electricity. Carrier of electricity. This is one point. And second point which you need to understand is okay. For hole behaves like a positive charge. Whereas electron behaves as a negative charge. And hole behaves as like a hole behaves like a positive charge. These are 2 points which you need to remember. Okay. Now we'll move on. So now we'll come to the point something called intrinsic semiconductor. So what do you mean by intrinsic semiconductor or we can also call it as a pure semiconductor. Pure semiconductor. Pure semiconductor, right? It means no impurities. A semiconductor which doesn't have any impurities, which doesn't have any impurities, which doesn't have any impurities is nothing but an intrinsic semiconductor. An intrinsic semiconductor. Good thing is, for an intrinsic semiconductor, number of electrons or negative charge, number of electrons or negative charges equals to number of holes or positive charges. It means, let's say it has 10 electrons. 10 electrons. It will have 10 protons also, or positive ions. Let's say this is N is equal to P. N represents electrons. This P represents holes. And this as n, if it is 10, it is 10. So I can use any 10. Why should I use always n and p? So I am representing something, right? Something like Ni, where Ni represents intrinsic concentration. Intrinsic concentration. Intrinsic concentration. So what do you mean by intrinsic concentration, sir? Why should I repeat? If you know the value of electrons in intrinsic semiconductor, you know the value of holes also. If you know the value of electrons, you know the value of holes also. So which is both of them are same. So because of that, I am representing something called Ni, which is called intrinsic concentration. Intrinsic concentration. So for this is important. This is important. So for intrinsic semiconductor, N into P is equal to Ni. N into P is equal to Ni. This is important. So intrinsic semiconductor is nothing but pure semiconductor which doesn't have impurities, and the another quality is number of electrons, that is, or negative charges, equals to number of positive charges, that is N is equal to P is equal to, I am using another simple letter, that is Ni, N subscript I, which is represented as intrinsic concentration. Intrinsic concentration. Intrinsic concentration. Now, next we have something called extrinsic semiconductor. Extrinsic semiconductor. Now here I should tell you something about okay. So for in a previous case, for intrinsic semiconductor, now what happens, sir? Intrinsic concentration is same. The number of charge carriers are same, equal. Will it conduct? When both electrons and holes are same, will it seriously conduct heavily? No. It will not conduct heavily. To increase the conductivity, adding impurities. Add impurities to the pure form of semiconductors. So the process of so that the conductivity increases. Conductivity increases. Sir, to increase the conductivity, why we are converting a semiconductor into another next level of conductivity? Directly we can use metal, right? We can use metal. Why adding something impurities to a semiconductor and metal and converting them into something different? Think this and answer me in the next class. Right? Adding impurities to increase the conductivity. So the process of adding impurities, the process of adding impurities to an pure semiconductor is called doping. Is called doping. So you are trying to convert extrinsic semiconductor, a pure form of semiconductor material into impure form. So, and how they are classified, sir? Extrinsic semiconductors, extrinsic semiconductor is of two types. One is called N type, the other one is called P type. One is called N type, the other one is called P type. N type and P type. So what do you mean by N type and P type? What do you mean by N type and P type? What do you mean by N type and P type? We'll see now what is N type and then P type. The point number one here is by adding pentavalent impurities. Here you will add pentavalent impurities. So for a pure form of semiconductor material, if you add pentavalent impurity, what do you mean by pentavalent? Pentavalent means 5 electrons in valency shell. How p type will form? P type will form by adding a trivalent impurity. Trivalent impurity means 3 electrons in valency shell. If or so all pentavalent impurities are nothing but what, sir? Or pentavalent impurities are nothing but what, sir? Can I say, are they from fifth group element or not? Here you will have third group element. Third group element. Some examples can you give me? Examples. You have phosphorus, arsenic, and here examples are. Examples are you can have aluminium and gallium. Aluminium and gallium. Okay. So this is what a N-type and P-type semiconductor metal. Tomorrow we'll in detail discuss about N-type and P-type. Our discussion will extend our discussion to N-type and P-type, and we'll also see next day. Tomorrow we'll see something called mass action law. Mass action law. We'll come back to this topic again and we'll discuss in detail. Yeah. Before closing this, so never give up on yourself. So this is very important, sir. Don't lose hope on yourself. Start working hard. Start working hard every day. Start working hard every day. This is very much important for your growth. Right? Never give up on yourself. Success is with you always. Today you may fail. Today you may fail, but tomorrow you'll definitely win. Winners do not do different things, they do things differently. Think how winners will do. Think how winners will do. So then only you can win. Then only you can win. Clear? Never give up. Never ever give up in your life. For whatever decision you have taken, stand by your decision. Work hard. Let's say you want to crack 2022 GATE examination. Work hard. Spend everyday time. Sometimes you may get failures. Sometimes you may get a failure, but take it as a stepping stone and go forward. Then only success will come to you. Success will come to you. Clear? Clear? So never give up. Never give up. Never give up on yourself. So we have India's #1 study channels. We have Creatrix, GATE, ECE, instrumentation. You have mechanical and all things general. Also you have Unacademy GATE, Unacademy GATE for civil engineers, Unacademy GATE Telugu, Unacademy GATE, Unacademy SSC JE you have, Unacademy Computer Science you have, Unacademy Computer Science you have, Unacademy GATE questions you have, Unacademy GATE questions you have, electrical junction you have separately, Unacademy Engineering Foundation and Engineering Pathshala. These are the different channels. They are the different channels which you have. Okay. So so this is hope this Telegram channel which you have already drawn, where you have already joined this Telegram. So this is very important, sir. Creatrix GATE EE. If you join here, you'll get lot of data. You'll get lot of data. And this is your referral code, which I explained to you in the beginning of the class. Also use this referral code to get 10% of discount. 10% of discount, right, sir? Now after this class, from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. a special class on Unacademy app. I am teaching. Which subject I am teaching, sir? I am teaching analog electronics. So I am in the first part called clippers. Clippers, which comes under simple diode circuits. Please do join. Please do join for this class also. Please do join for this class also. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye. Bye. Catch up in Unacademy app. We'll catch up in Unacademy app. Thank you. Bye.